Hello, everybody, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing very, very well. I hope that you're all doing very good today. I'm having a fabulous morning, by the way. My little one woke up. It was so sweet. We cuddled for a while, and then she, of course, went to school. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday today. And today I thought it would be fun, since it's Friday, if we just hung out and reacted to some people drinking their pee. Because it is the pseudoscience practice of the times. Now, back when we were going through the lovely pandemic, they actually had a whole thing going on where there were people that were saying that cow dung could cure COVID. And I had covered that. And yes, when I say cow dung could cure it, I mean, yes, they were eating it. It was quite a thing. It was really gross. So I'm just wondering if you guys think that that's more disgusting than this urine therapy. I feel like the urine therapy might be more worrisome because when you tell someone not to eat poop, most people are like, okay. But for some reason, urine therapy is practiced. And it's practiced by a lot of people, a lot more than one would think. Hello, Galdi. Marshall's poop therapy. Does he do poop therapy? Because that would be freaking hilarious. But I have found some amazing videos of some people letting us know about their pee drinking journeys. I don't know what else to call it. I feel like I did a good job the last time we spoke about this of explaining why you shouldn't drink urine, why this is a pseudoscience that will not be good for you. If anything, it is quite the opposite. It can be harmful. We talked about the toxins that are in your pee and how you shouldn't be re-drinking them, if you will. Pee and poop are the waste from your body. It's the stuff your body wants to get rid of, and therefore eating it, consuming it in any way is gross. Okay, it's gross. And when there are no health benefits there, we don't know why people are doing it. No, queen, don't drink the pee pee. Do you know what's funny is that I was like, I wish that I could just come out here and do a stream, which is basically what I'm doing right now, where I'm just like, guys, don't drink pee, it's gross. And then everyone's like, okay. Sounds good, queen. Like, we weren't going to drink our pee anyway. But apparently, it's such a practice pseudoscience. And that's what I mean. Sometimes when I have people, tell me that I should look into a pseudoscience or I find a new pseudoscience just from watching like Jeff Holiday or something, I'm like, okay, so this has to be a group of extremists because usually out here I'm making fun of the extremists, right? We're making fun of like full-on cult leaders. We're making fun of the top CEOs in like scams and cults. We're making fun of the extremists, the incels that are out here doing no fap or somebody who's like really politically extreme, right? Like some alt-right loser that's like, they're stealing our jobs or something. We're making fun of something like that, right? And so I often think like, okay, it's probably just a group of people that are like somehow pseudoscience extremists. And those people are the only ones practicing this. When it came to the cow dung stuff, that was pretty much the case. It was a very specific sort of group of people. It came from India, and it was mainly people in India. And it had kind of bled out to like some of the extremists in our Western society here. But it wasn't really that big of a thing over here, right? The thing about the urine therapy is that it has become such a big thing that China actually had to ban it as a therapy. Like, it is completely banned in China. And there are somehow still people that are like practicing it in China that are willing to like hide it. Like, you have to think of what would go into that, right? And we know what kind of government is out there. So they're putting a lot on the line in order to practice this urine therapy because they apparently believe in it so much. So this one I feel like isn't as small of a group of people. Okay. And so I'm kind of like, listen, listen, I think we need to actually talk about this. But since it's Friday today, I just kind of want to laugh at people doing it. I'll be honest. How about someone fart on your French fries? Is that okay? Only if they fart out mayo. What's wrong with Jeff Holiday? We stand Daddy Reverend Jeff Holiday here. So basically, I have found some people that are going to tell us why they do urine therapy because I need to understand why. I feel like I have a good understanding of pseudoscience and why people do some weird things, but this one intrigues me because I'm like, listen, it didn't take me that long at all to come up with all the reasons why drinking your pee is a bad idea. So, how did you all come up with all these reasons why it's a good idea? Like, where did you find them? Where did they come from? And it appears that they're pulling from a lot of like different ancient things, which we're seeing a lot right now in society. People are like regressing. Okay. Like right now, we live in a society. We live in a society. We live in a world right now where pseudoscience is like returning. Okay. There are full on people out here that think magic is real, that they can cast spells again, and this kind of thing. We're regressing in science. And there's a reason for that, which I've gotten into in other videos. But I don't think urine therapy is going to help anyone anywhere. I would rather you try to cast a spell than drink your pee.
Continue with another Fight Tips quick tip. So the question today is, why do fighters drink their own urine? This is something that...
So yes, apparently, Bells, there's a reason why we stopped doing things in ancient times. Exactly, right? It's like back then we didn't know any better, so we were just coming up with different ways to explain things. And I've talked about this before in terms of like theology and that from back in the day, a lot of like even mythical and old Greek mythology, right? All of that stuff comes from basically people in the world wanting to explain how the world is the way it is without science. You know what I'm saying? So they would come up with like a god, for example, that would be in control of every part of the earth. So you had like a god that controlled the weather, and then you had a god that controlled like the sun coming up, and a god that controlled the moon. And it was just how they could kind of like explain how the world worked because they didn't have the knowledge, the resources, the science to actually like figure all this stuff out. And the same with like medicine, right? It was like we didn't know any better. We didn't have the things that we do today. So we just kind of like made up things, right? Like it was like some of it made sense. Like there's a lot of medicine that comes from like, oils, and there's a lot of medicine that comes from things that are natural in our world. But at the same time, for the most part, we were just kind of like making it up, right? Just making it up. Magic was a big one because it was like you could do like herbology, for example, which has been proven to like show, like that has some truth to it. There is natural medicine. Some natural medicine does work, right? So it's like a mixture of that. And then people like adding in magic to basically be like, this is how we can cure ailments and whatnot. And then as time went on, we let go of all of that because then we had, medical science come into play. And then we were able to actually figure out why things happen in our world. And so, of course, as we learn more and grow more as a society, then, of course, we're going to stop. I would hope that we're going to stop doing these things that aren't proven. right? But apparently, we went through like a whole period where we did stop in my lifetime, and now it seems to have come back. And I feel like everyone is like going back to the old and ancient times and pulling out things to use today. And it really happened during COVID. We saw it so much during the COVID thing. I think that's when it showed itself the most. Um, I mean, we tend to see it whenever there's some kind of pandemic. When the measles outbreak happened several years ago, we had like a bunch of the anti-vaxxers and stuff show up, right? So they tend to show up and be like, yeah, let's go back to using the medicine that we once used in catching spells and whatnot. So we're just doing it again. We're doing it again. Our world happens in cycles if you pay attention. And we're just doing a pseudoscience cycle again. But apparently, fighters drink their own pee, which I wasn't aware of. I've never heard of this. I've watched a lot of wrestling. We talked the other day about how I did wrestling in high school. A lot of MMA, stuff like that. But I didn't realize that there were actually fighters out here that drink their own urine to the point where someone would actually ask people, why do fighters drink their own urine? Oh, this guy. Yes, this guy. Bells has your fingernails and hair clippings and is putting a curse on you. Bells already hexed me back in like 2020. She came on a live stream and did like a whole hoopla. It was similar to the hex I read her do. It was fun. It's true. I have been. I don't know because I'm regarded. It is true. You say people know not to eat poop, but I think this guy ate the poo-poo too. See, it's so funny because like I said, like you would think that you wouldn't have to come out here and talk about this and be like, listen, this is a pseudoscience. There's no health benefits to this. Don't do this. You would think that just being like, don't drink your piss and don't eat your poop. And then you could just be like, the end. The end. I may not be a smart woman, but I know what drama is. That sounds like a Bell's quote. So yes, apparently fighters drink their own urine, according to this dude. So I want to hear what he has to say and have him explain to us why.
Became popular when fighters like Juan Manuel Marquez and Lyoto Machida went on record saying that they drink their own urine. Where did this come from? Why did they start doing it? Well, Machida said that a couple years back he had a really bad cough and his dad recommended that he drink his own urine. He's been doing
I want to know how that happened. Like, he called his dad up and he was like, Dad, I am coughing really badly. So his dad was like, do you know what would really help? The acid in your pee would be great for your throat.
Doing it ever since. Marquez says that it gives him an extra boost when he's doing his intense boxing training. When you research it and you look into the studies, your urine is nothing more than like 95% water, and the rest is like sodium and the rest of the toxins that your body doesn't already need.
Yes, exactly. Like Joe just said, there's a reason why the body gets rid of it. We don't need it. We don't want it. We should not be consuming it. But I want to know where this is going because I feel like he just agreed with us, but then he's going to go on to tell us why it's a good thing.
So, a study from back in the early 20th century said that it's endless. The benefits are endless.
Back in the 20th century. This is what I mean when I say we are like regressing somehow. I don't know why we are talking about old medicine like this. It really bothers me. This is a regression. Like, we've gone past this. We don't have to do that. I'm sure there was a time way back where we were like, oh, it would probably be a great idea. And then, of course, we learned better. So we tried to do better. But then we have people like this that are like, no, let's just keep drinking pee.
Can cure AIDS, it can prevent cancer and all this different stuff. And the reason why doctors don't research it and don't let it be known is because there's no monetary value. There's no way that they can make.
Do you know what? It actually does look like that, doesn't it? It does look like a furry. I don't know. Maybe him and Marshall Mathers the Fourth could hook up.
Money from it because everyone will be drinking their own pee. And this influenced a lot of people over in Asian countries, in India and China. And a lot of people still do it today. They say that they really truly believe in it. I personally don't think so. I think you should just be drinking water, you should be eating healthy, living a healthy lifestyle, and that's about it.
I agree with him. I don't think we should be drinking pee. This guy completely lost touch with reality and recorded himself having a schizophrenic breakdown with his parents. That's too bad. That's actually sad to me. I used to work with people with schizophrenia. It's a very, very hard thing to have. I wouldn't wish that one on my worst enemy. Honestly, if there is a mental health disorder out there that is living in your own hell, it is schizophrenia. That is like the worst one you could have. It would be so annoying. I just wish he didn't record it. I wish he didn't record it. I have had some awful moments. I'm never going to record them. You will never see them. Bloodletting, let's do it. This does look like a furry, though.
I'm hesitating to say this, but comment below if you drink your own urine.
Please do comment below if you drink your own urine and let me know why. See, again, it's like every time that they bring up where they learned it from, they're like, the ancient times said it was good. So now, fucking hundreds of years later, I think it's a great idea too. And I'm like, don't do that. Damn it! DMT is a fun one. He must also watch Joe Rogan. He's watching Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, do the DMT. And he's like, yes, I will do that. And tell people not to drink their urine. Then he did a 40-day. Ooh. Although I feel like that would have been worse the other way around. Like, you probably don't want to do DMT on an empty stomach. I'm just saying. It was written on a flat earth map. I don't know. This guy does look like he could fall into every single conspiracy theory. I mean, he has dreads and a furry shirt on, damn it. And does the furry have blood on its knuckles? It's getting mad at everyone that's against the furries. But, like, I didn't realize that fighters did this. So when I found this video, which was when I was doing my first video, a lot of these I found when I did the first time that we talked about this. I just didn't really know how to bring them up in that one. So now here we are today just to laugh at them. I was like, if that's a thing with fighters, like they're actually going around telling each other to drink urine. They're like, can you please drink your urine? It will help you be a better fighter. And people keep talking about how they get like an energy boost from it. And I'm kind of like, how is that a possible thing? I mean, if you're drinking a lot of coffee, I guess, and then you piss out your coffee and then you're like re-drinking it or something, you're getting extra caffeine maybe. But even then, I'm kind of like, I really don't think it's doing that. I think if anything, you're putting your body in shock, and that's probably what you're actually feeling. But as we know, apparently this is popular to fighters, and it's popular even to people that are in government.
Things and crazy things. If you can transition to 2018, one of the funniest videos. You took on one of the most daring challenges. I love, Brian, how you went into this. I don't want to spoil it, but let's have a look at the next clip. It is a very unique one.
Get ready.
Gosh. All right. Oh, is that enough? That's enough.
That's enough, bro. You're fine, yeah.
Okay,
yours is pretty clear. I'm impressed.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. Okay, so there you go.
Sparkling.
Wow, you got yours foaming and all that?
Yeah.
They, yes. They both just went into the back, just back there, and peed in cups, like together. It's like only best friends can do that, I'm sure.
All right. If you want a close-up of that thing, that's me. It looks like kind of.
You might recognize Mr. Rose here, Mr. Brian Rose. He is actually in government, and he is one of the big people that are very, very pro drinking urine. You saw clips of him in my last deep dive into this. And so now we get to actually hear him explain to us and do it, I guess, and tell us why he loves to drink his urine.
Like champagne-ish color,
Eggs.
white wine.
White wine.
I also think it's weird that they inspect their urine. Maybe that's just me though. But yes, it is true. The clearer it is, the more hydrated you are. Do people check in the toilet for that? Am I supposed to be doing that? Am I supposed to be like taking a pee and then like checking it out in the toilet to see how hydrated I am? Because I totally don't.
Liquid gold.
Okay, all right, only on London Mail.
People will drink Coca-Cola. They'll drink tap water without ever knowing what's in it. There's nothing in that that's not ran around your body already, that you've already consumed consciously,
Right.
It's from you, it's for you.
So it's a combination of everything I've put in my body intentionally.
Yeah, and it's like, this is too much minerals of this thing. So yeah, and it'd be...
Too much minerals? I mean, that's a way to twist the word toxins, I guess.
Okay, let's do this, Timothy Sheaf. Cheers, buddy.
Ryan.
Okay.
Oh, that's the diabetes test. Got it. Oh my God.
Not bad at all.
Just doing that with you brought back memories of the first time I did it, and that was, yeah.
What a weird moment. Just now, when I drank my piss with you, it brought me back to the first time I ever drank my piss, and it made me so happy. I felt all warm and fuzzy inside. Really, it was the toxins fucking up his whole insides.
Good on you, Brian.
Like you said, just be present with
Good
it.
on
and,
you! Ah, he's done it again! Yeah, that was a face that looked like he was enjoying it. I love how they like squint and they look like they're in pain. Like, let's watch that again. I know, it's true. They kind of are. I don't know. It's very weird, but then at the same time, I feel like it can't taste that good. And then they almost try to hide it. Like they're drinking it. It's almost like when I was at It Works and they used to make me drink the greens and they'd be like, do a video of you drinking the It Works greens and then try to sell them. And it tasted like fucking shit and dirt put together with some water. And I would have to do a video of me like pretending that they taste great. Like, oh, this is so good. Come and buy them today. And like do a video of me like drinking them. And I would have to like pretend that it was great. Or like if I go to feed my kid when she was a baby and something was really gross and then I had to like take the baby food and take a bite of it and be like, the peas are really good, sweetheart. That's what it reminds me of whenever I watch them take a sip of this. I feel like they take a sip and then they're like making these cringe faces. It obviously doesn't taste good, which I mean, pee probably doesn't taste good. I mean, I wouldn't really know. I've never drank mine. Maybe that's what we're missing here. I gotta go try it to really be able to talk about it. But literally, it's like they do these faces and it cracks me up because they always seem to like want to show this, right? They keep recording themselves drinking pee and then like their facial reactions. And so it just kind of cracks me up how fake it is.
Memories of the first time I did it, and that was, yeah.
So yeah,
Good on
he's
you,
so
Brian.
profound.
Like you said, just be present with it, and
Like watch. See, like he takes a sip.
Amazing.
Like, did you see that like little face he kind of made? Like it was hard to get down, Like he was like, and then just watch. Like that did not look like an enjoyable like you would do after an orgasm, where you'd be like, no, that wasn't that. That was like, gotta get this down.
So here it is. Yes, I drank my own urine. There you go. When I was running to be mayor of London, a bunch of blogs out there thought they had got me and discovered this video, but it was on my YouTube channel the whole time. I was actually...
Oh my God. He's like, I exposed myself as a pee drinker. They thought they exposed me. I exposed myself. The silver bulldog is kind of dope. Yeah. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Trying to get people to watch this. That's why I publish my videos. And so, again, this is another moment where a guest sits in the chair and says, Brian, I'm going to challenge your perspective. And most of the guests that sat in the chair, I didn't agree with what they said when they first got here, from Dan Pena to Mantak Chia to all these people. So Timothy Sheaf, who's been on the show many times since early days, always is a pioneer of thought, I would say, about Timothy. And
he's a pioneer of thoughts. So he went all the way back into ancient times when people drank their pee, and he came up with drinking pee.
And he was like, yeah, I'm drinking my own urine. And I know...
He was a pioneer of thoughts. And then he was like, yeah, I'm drinking my own urine. I mean, you got to give it to this guy. He just said this with a complete straight face and utter conviction. I mean, I couldn't do it.
That Lyoto Machida, the UFC fighter, used to do the same with his father. And he's like Brazilian.
And this is why I wanted to talk about the fighting. Because now here we have him using it as a fucking example. He's like, listen, fighters do this. So there must be something to it. And I'm like, no. If I tell you that Jeffrey Dahmer drank his pee, would you stop drinking it? Because I could start doing that. It is true. He's very into yellow, isn't he? Or I guess that would be gold. That looks kind of like more like a golden tie, which is even more to do with pee, since they are called golden showers. The golden shower tie, if you will. I'm going to challenge you to drink your piss. I do. I feel like he has people on this show. He used to have people on the show, right? And like he said, they would almost do like little debates and like back and forth. Maybe we'll watch some in future and just kind of laugh at them. Some of them are kind of funny. But then when this guy came on, they had like too much in common, mainly to do with the pee drinking thing. And it ended up being like those bro moments that we just kind of watched where they were like, oh yeah, you drink your urine, I drink my urine. You want to go in the back and like piss in a cup and then we can drink our urine together? And then it became a very strange episode, which is why like, which is why it's kind of funny to be brought up here. Us Canadians drink their pee because water gets too frozen in the winter. Yes. And then if our bladders are too frozen, we will go ice fishing and we will take the piss of the fish just to drink it in order to stay healthy. Here in Canada, you do not want a Canadian flu. Okay? If you thought Corona was bad.
I think Japanese background, I think.
Yeah.
And so I'd heard of it being done. I knew that like Navy SEALs would do it if they were in desert training. So I knew it wasn't just...
Okay, Navy SEALs would do it if they were in desert training. And then he just stops and doesn't go on to explain like what that really is about. There is like an old tale that if you were dehydrated and you were ever in like the desert or in like a situation that was like life or death and you absolutely had to drink pee to survive, it would not be the worst thing. Now, that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about like them being like, I really want to drink my pee, right? And he brings it up as if it's just like all these other gurus out here that are like, no, pee's good for you. Let's drink it. It will help us. But that's not what it was. Yes, Joe, right? It was like a life or death situation where it was like you were so dehydrated and the only liquid you could get to was your pee, which would then oftentimes it made people sick, which is why I don't really understand how we got here. Because like, if you know about all that, you would have known that people that have been put in those situations, like it may have like quote unquote like saved their lives and they didn't die from dehydration, but it didn't like help them at all either. Like, it wasn't good for them. A lot of them ended up like kind of sickly from it. Like, it wasn't the ultimate thing to do, where if you could go and get a glass of water, you would instead be like, no, I would rather drink pee. Don't get me the apple juice, just piss in a cup. So it's just funny because in these pseudoscience practices, you'll see that they like pull from different things like that, but then they don't actually explain it all. So he's like, oh yeah, back in Desert Storm, they used to drink pee all the time. That's how we won the war. Woo! And it's like, no, Brian, that wasn't it.
Just completely crazy. But again, doing it is another thing. But that's what London Real's all about. So I thought to myself, what's the worst that's going to happen? Trust me, drinking urine is much easier than drinking ayahuasca, for example. It's much safer than drinking tequila, and I've drank a lot of that in my past. So at the end of the day,
I don't actually know if it is. That's actually an interesting question. Is it safer than drinking tequila? I mean, that kind of depends. I mean, if you're not used to drinking and you down a whole like 40 of tequila, then yeah, you're going to die of alcohol poisoning. That's not good for you. But if you are just drinking like a glass of, I don't know, like a margarita at the end of the night, let's say, or something, and it's in moderation, like they claim they drink their pee in moderation, I actually would think that the pee is probably going to harm you more. I would say, please have a beer at the end of your day over drinking your pee. I feel like the pee is, after time, going to harm you a lot more than the alcohol will. Now, you don't quote me on that. I am not saying that for sure. We should maybe look into that further and maybe have a real discussion on what's worse. But with what I know about how pee is a toxic waste and the harm it can do to you, and I know what alcohol can do to you, and like I said, honestly, you could probably do safer consumption of alcohol than you could of pee, okay? Just think about it. Common sense tells us all that might be a thing.
Why not? So I did it with Timothy live here. I drank it, and guess what? It's not that bad. And so when I had little boys and they would pee on things, I'd be like, well, it shouldn't bother me if it's on my hands because I've drank urine before. So again, it was a moment that, again, when I ran for mayor of London, they tried to like throw up there and it made all the headlines.
Do little boys pee on his hands often? Again, that was a very weird story. I'm just saying.
But it's part of who we are here. So I did it, and I'm glad I did it. I don't do it regularly. That's what all the media wanted to ask me when I was running mayor of London. Do you still drink urine every day? So, but I'm not scared of doing it, and I did it a few times. And
yes, he has done it a few times. And almost all the times he has done it, he has recorded it and then uploaded it to share it with the world, because we all had to see him. See, they are comparing it to something pleasurable like alcohol, these weird sick piss freaks. Yes, I mean, they kind of compared it to a lot of pleasurable things. War would probably be more pleasurable than drinking pee. I'm just throwing that out there. But it's funny to me because he actually does advocate that people do this. I know that here he's acting all like nonchalant, but to me, if you're in government, right, and then you have like a show like he does, and then you're out here recording yourself drinking pee and you're uploading it and trying to show it as a good thing, like it's almost like he was doing attractive marketing with piss drinking, like I used to do for It Works Greens, okay? It was not all right. That's not a good thing. And in my opinion, now he's like advocating that other people do it. You know, and that's when we have issues, is when you're actually out here going, listen, this is a great thing that you should try. That first video we watched, at least the dude that was talking about it was like, I'm not really in agreement with drinking your pee. You know, whereas when this guy talks about it, he's like, yeah, it's not that bad. And now when kids piss on my hand, which again, I don't know how often that happens, I'm not that scared of it. I think, oh, well, I used to drink it and then I lick my hands clean. You know, it's a very weird thing. I've had a dog pee on my shoes. I think probably we all have. I used to have 2 beagles, and my one dog, whenever she got mad at me, that's what she would do, is she would go to the front door and piss on my shoes. Or she would go and eat my clothes out of my closet and like put holes in them. It got to the point where I would just laugh. I'd be like, oh, fuck, the dog's mad at me again. I didn't give her an extra treat like she wanted. She peed on my damn shoes. Ash and Susie, what are you talking about? Are they going to do some weird corno where they're doing pee? The funny thing is that if Ash actually ever did come out here and was like, I drink my own pee, like, I bet you they would all start drinking their own pee. I'm just saying, especially since half the people in that company are from India, where this is from. I'm just throwing it out there. Susie would be like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. But we're going to dig into Brian Rose, I think, in future a little bit more, because he's an interesting character, especially with this whole thing going on. And like I said, he pretty much did advocate that other people should be doing this too. Like, I would never come out here and like record myself drinking pee and putting it on the internet unless the point was to show people that there's not that much wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he was doing with it. He was going, look at me, I drink my pee and it's great. So it's like, obviously he's trying to influence other people into doing that. If you know me, you know that I am anti-influencer. I am anti-influencer here. So I make fun of influencers. I make fun of trends. I make fun of the things that people try to do to be an influencer. And if drinking pee is something that people are going to start doing, I'm going to be right here to make fun of it. Because holy crap, that's hilarious. So that was Brian Rose drinks his own urine. We've watched the fighters drink their own urine. And now it is time to watch Kate's journey with urine therapy. And she gets into a little bit more detail as to like the spirituality that she does and why she drinks her urine. So I feel like this one is interesting to watch and might give us a little bit more of an insight into what is wrong with the people that do this, if you will.
I think this is going to be a Shivambu talk. So, integrated versus disintegrated. That's sort of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Kate, Kate here is an influencer. She has thousands upon thousands of people that are subscribed to her here on YouTube. She has thousands subscribed to her on Instagram. And she is somebody that is somewhat of a spiritual guru, if you will. So she comes on and she talks about like her health and wellness journeys and her spirituality and tries to like give advice and motivate people, if you will, and be like a spiritual influencer, right? A spiritual influencer. With who? With you? Anytime, Brucey. With this girl? No. Actually, I probably would. I would interview her to ask her what's wrong with her and then ask her to pluck her eyebrows a little better. Bathroom break. Don't give anyone a golden shower, Joe. Okay? So she is, not really well known, but she is coming up. So I found Kate here, and I've been keeping an eye on her for a little while. And so when the urine drinking came up, I was like, ha 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 ha, Kate does that. So I've been looking forward to this.
It's like the urine, once it comes out of your body, becomes more and more highly integrated. And we know that from the ORP, from the oxidation reduction potential. So there's these like little meters. They use them in pool and septic and water treatment companies. It's called the ORP meter. And if you think about oxidation You know oxidation's bad because you know antioxidants are good. So I don't have to review that. So reduction, reducing, right? Make less than. And then potential, which is potential, right? Like that's the gateway into the infinite, right? Right there. So we have urine that comes out of the body at around -50 ORP. Water's like 0. Like water's in trouble if it's plus. If you're
See, like these people actually do pee and then use things to like figure out what's in the pee to see if it's a good one to drink or what's I don't know, man. I also ended up diving into a whole area of health guru people that basically keep track of their waste. Welcome to my world.
if you put your ORP into whatever water you're drinking and it's registering plus, that means it's adding oxidation to your body. It's like adding inflammation. So no bueno. No bueno there. So aged urine, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I do have to admit, this woman reminds me of like if Belle's was a quarter of the size and pretty.
We need so much more research. This is what's driving me so freaking nuts about writing Upcycling Your Pee. And I love it too, because it's like a treasure hunt and a mystery. I just wish I could do it full time.
Yes, you heard it here. She wants to study pee drinking and your pee full time. There are people that study urology full time, but that's more than just studying pee. Right? That's studying like all of the issues down there, if you will. Your bladder issues, kidney issues, all of it. They study and they'll help people, you know, you could end up with like bladder cancer. That's who you would go to, for example. That exists. But no, they do not just hang out in labs, pee in cups, and then use devices to figure out what's in the pee and then keep track of it to try to prove that pee drinking is good. And that's what she wants to do. That's her goal. What a life goal. If you were to ever have one, this is the ultimate.
Because that's what it deserves. Yeah. All right. So -400. There's no other substance, or so I've heard, but need to do more research on. There's no other substance that could be put into the human body that's that high of a negative ORP. Because what happens is it burns. Like higher than that, a different substance with that high negative ORP burns. So you can't put it in the body. But you can put urine in the body and it doesn't burn. It'll burn mucosal membranes. It'll sting. But I'm not sure how tied that is to what's in the pee and levels of inflammation. So again, like there's just massive data gaps everywhere one looks. Unless you look at user experience, right? And so what's the difference there? Like in the lab,
like she's taking it so scientifically. And that's what's kind of scary about Kate here. When you go down to the comments underneath this video, you have all of these people that are going, oh my God, Kate, I love how you take a scientific approach to drinking pee. And I'm like, there is no scientific approach. What she's done is she's taken some information and then applied it here as the science for that. And it's not. Well, back to work. Well, listen, thank you, Joe. I'm glad that you're hydrated and that your pee is clear, which means that it is good to drink, by the way, apparently.
Of the body or in the lab of the scientist, right? Analyzing it from the outside or experiencing it from the inside. And on the inside, what we know is that it does two things. It reduces AMA, it dissolves AMA, and it builds ojas. So easy. It's so simple to say that. Balances the doshas. Okay, that's handy. I don't know about for you. For me personally, that's handy. Balances the doshas.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think she is right stoned right now.
Dissolves inflammation, and how? Through nitric oxide. And that's where the conversation goes. It goes from things like ORP to pH to nitric oxide to oxidative stress. to inflammation, to microbiome. And those are the themes of the book. Those are the chapters of the book, because that's how it works. So when you ask a question, I mean, what I asked myself, or maybe what I'm starting to ask myself, is why does it, if it does work for everything, just everything, not like a specific thing, but everything, including all the specific things. If urine works or makes all the things better, why? How? Where? Doing what? I mean, we have so much technology, right? Like, what is Elon Musk doing this week? It's ridiculous. We have so much technology. We don't understand urine. We don't understand urine. So as you see, she's doing what Nev here says. She's using science buzzwords, right? She's throwing in all these science buzzwords. She's explaining like the pH levels of your pee and all this stuff, right? Which that's all technically science, yes. But then she's applying that science to mean that proves that drinking your urine is good for you, or that we need to at least like look into this more scientifically. It's like we already have. This was already a practice at one point, right? It's an ancient practice. We talked about that the last time we spoke about this, about where this all comes from. Ancient practice. So basically, like I said, what happens in our world is then we get the science, right? Medical science comes into play, and medical science went and looked at urine and went, there are no benefits to this. If anything, it's harmful. And then they went, so we're not going to continue to waste resources, money, and time looking into urine and what benefits it could possibly have, right? Just because there's no point. And that's what happened. And then we moved on. Whereas she's like, I think we need to go back and we need to explore this more, because there's this science and that science, and all the sciences will come together and prove that it's good. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not going to happen. I think I'll just keep my knee pain. Bottom line, yes. So if it's going to apparently cure that, I will just keep that pain. I am good. I'm not drinking pee to find out. And it's like when she starts talking, and this is, again, the manipulation tactic that she uses, right? Because as you guys heard, she kind of started talking like a skeptic. Like I would do a video on this being like, how does it cure everything? Like I do with essential oils and other pseudosciences. And we talk about how there can't be one cure-all for everything. Okay, the med bed that Mike Ellis wants to make cannot ever come into effect. All that we talk about a lot. So she almost like does this wording where she's like, how does it cure everything? So it sounds skeptical. And then she goes into, well, we don't know because we haven't actually researched it, instead of just being like, it doesn't. We've looked into it. We said there's nothing good here and we moved on. The people that do this act like science never looked into this, but the thing is that they have. They've looked into all of these like ancient and natural medicines and remedies. All the pseudosciences they've looked into. They're called pseudoscience for a reason. It's because they do not have science, real science. So when something can't be proven with real science, but there could be something kind of scientific with it, it gets put in the pseudoscience category. So there's people out here that seem to believe, though, that just means that these things weren't researched enough. And that, like, big pharma is keeping secrets, or they don't want us to research these things, right? You hear that from the anti-vaxxers, for example, right? Where they'll be like, they don't want big pharma, and the doctors don't want you to know that pee can cure everything, because then they'll lose money on making medicines and charging you for doctor visits if you're in the US.
in order to cure your ailments when you could just drink your pee at home, right? It's like the essential oil hunts. They don't want you to know. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening here. If urine actually did cure things, they would very much want you to know. And then they would bottle urine and sell it to us. Okay, that's what would be going on here. They would have designated peers, and then they would have those people pee. They would control their diets, and then they would be selling all of us like Powerade, but it would be power urine, if you will. Okay, that's what would happen here. And it's the same with like the essential oils companies. Whenever you hear people talking like that, it's like, no, if there was benefits, they would have taken those benefits and then used them, even big pharma. Okay, so obviously that's not what's going on here. So it's like, we've already checked it out. We've already been like, no, this is not good for you. If anything, it's actually harmful because, again, it's your toxins. There's bad stuff in there. Not good for you to re-drink it, right? You know, just like the people that donate fecal matter for fecal transplants. There's proof of poo therapy, but not urine therapy. You know, that's funny because we did do a deep dive on the people that said that eating your poo could cure COVID. And that was a fun deep dive. And no, it doesn't cure COVID, by the way, in case you were wondering. But this is what I mean, though, right? Is that there is proof. So if there is proof of anything being therapeutic or scientific about any of this stuff, they'll tell us. They're not going to keep it from us. It's not a conspiracy theory. Don't fall down that rabbit hole, okay? They would then figure out how to sell us the urine, you know? Well, poo eating doesn't cure COVID, but if fecal transplants reset the gut microbiome, you know what? That makes some sense, though. A little bit of sense. But again, that's not then eating poo, right? See, and this is what I mean, is maybe there could be some kind of benefit to urine, but it wouldn't be drinking it. You know, like if there was, it would be like extracting something from it and then making a medicine with it, if you will, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They've done it with fungus. All right. There are poisons out there that have been turned into medicines, for example. Like, that's not the weirdest fucking thing. But again, it wouldn't be like you take a poop in a cup and then you just eat the poop. And it's like, that's not going to be a thing for urine either. There is no benefit to peeing in a cup and then just drinking it. It is disgusting. So again, just pay attention to the language that she uses, kind of like the manipulation tactics of the language she uses and how she tries to kind of come off as a skeptic, but she isn't one, you know? And all the likes. And then how she, which we haven't really got into yet. This one's about 20 minutes long. We'll be here for a little bit now. Sorry, especially with me blabbering on. But how she like goes on to like connect it to her spirituality and stuff as well. I feel like that is basically where she's going with this and the important things we have to pay attention to in her speech, especially if she is going to be out here as some kind of health guru now as she's climbing up in our world. It's essentially a last, and this is the thing, is that it's always the last resort, right? It's to help someone who's got antibiotic resistant bacterial overgrowth, and it usually works. But yes, again, last ditch effort. So that's when like they've tried a bunch of things, right? And that hasn't worked. It is never the answer, right? And I think that's something else that you have to be honest about. If she was honest about all of this, she would tell people about that as well. But she doesn't. I just die instead. See, I would do that one if I had to. But like I said, again, that's not like they're not handing you your poop and telling you to drink your poop. Like, there is nothing that can come out of that. Nothing good anyway. You do not want a poop and pee shake. That would be awful. But stay tuned. I'm sure Herbalife will come up with one.
And urine as it ages or
Yeah.
evolves. That's what the community, they changed the word from aging to evolving because our culture doesn't understand aging as evolution. Dumb. I know, we're so not, it's like we're so smart, and yet if you think of like aged cheese, aged wine.
She kind of has this attitude that she knows everything and the rest of the world needs to catch up to her. I kind of love this lol cow.
Right? It's evolving. So in urine, if we see it as a culture, that means it has its own microbiome. Now that's fascinating right there, right? Just pause and think about that. So when you're putting urine back into your body, how come it feeds the microbiome? Well, it's already assimilated. And then where I keep coming down to, and I think this is also why the urine conversation, eventually you end up talking about all these different amino acids. You know, the ones people are taking expensive supplements, like you go to your functional medicine doctor and you get these exact amino acids that you need to take so that your body.
Or you're like going to It Works or another MLM company and you're buying up these shakes and, you know, like blueberry amino acid gummies. So again, she's bringing up amino acids, which, yes, amino acid, good for you. You want to get that. Not the same thing in your urine, though.
Can build better protein, so your body can build better genes, essentially. Your epigenetic potential increases, right? That you don't lose your genetic intelligence, but you manufacture it better, right? So then what happens with urine is, even though it looks like some of these bigger, more evolved cells might never be digested, right? Like your stomach acids would change them, right? They'd break them down. So it would go to disintegration. So again, integration, disintegration. It would break it down back into the building blocks, right?
See, and that's the other thing that Angel just pointed out here is that, again, you can't build better genes. Your genes are your genes. All right, that's your biology, the end. It's the same as like the cloning, if you will. People that think that they're going to be able to like this isn't even as advanced as like you getting to pick what genes your child has. You know what I mean? Okay.
But then something's being absorbed.
And especially in your pee. Like you're not changing your genes by changing the microbiome in your pee. Especially after you've already peed it out of your body. But, you know, whatever. Keep going, Kate.
Sublingually, into the skin, into the bottoms of the feet. What we know is absorbed kind of everywhere, as far as I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do. Show me the research. I would love to quote it. Is amino acids. Right? Like you just cannot not find an amino acid in urine.
So she's saying since amino acids are good, and since they're in urine, that then means urine good. And these are like the hoops that she's jumping through in this video with everything.
So now it's pre-assimilated to the body because of the blood plasma, and then it's absorbed. So it's able to reintegrate. So it can go to disintegration. It can go into smaller parts, or it can go into bigger, more complicated, more evolved parts. And that's where it really changes our whole perspective of the waste cycle. And it calls into question, you know, everything from a much deeper materialism, much more in tune with elements as they construct and as they deconstruct. And as that happens, you do start to feel, I would say it brings you like right into the yogic texts around, or it brings me there anyway. I knew all that philosophy study was good for something.
She thinks she's like the world's biggest philosopher. She gets so like up on herself. Like she's like, look at me. I am like the most intelligent woman in the whole world. And I've like figured all of this out about drinking pee, and like the rest of the world, they need to catch up. Okay. We're out here changing our genes and shit. And they're just putting genes on. Ha!
It goes right back to the kleshas, like the reasons people contract, like the reasons people go to safety rather than adventure.
What?
Right? Go to safety rather than adventure. You don't want your life to go to safety over adventure, because that's...
We're all too scared to step out of our comfort zones. That's why we're not drinking pee. That must be it.
not really living. So like, then what's the point? Right? It's not about protecting.
Then we're
ourselves.
dead.
It's about being grounded and going on the adventure. So the big, you know, the big klesha, they say the big kleshas, or at least Desikachar says this. Krishnamacharya's son, Desikachar. Madras, Chennai, that area.
I love how she says disintegrate. Like how all the crunchy huns say disease. A disease is just disease. Yes. It's just disease. It's okay to feel uneasy. It's minimalizing it, right?
He says, you know, it's really rooted in avidya, which is failure of not wisdom, like vidya, you know, you've got your vidyas, you got your vidyas, you got your Vedas, right? And it's all this alignment to like, there's a higher plane of knowledge, like tune into that, like tune into higher levels of frequencies, higher levels of wisdom, right?
Oh God, now we're talking about energy frequencies. I should have known we would be here.
That exists. At that plane, you start to understand how the cosmos unfolds. So avidya is where you get off track, right? You're not tapped into deep wisdom. Maybe you got busy, right, with what's going on the surface of life and forgot to like find the root. So avidya, then the other kleshas, again, these stains, these contractions against being on the real adventure of your life, right, is abhinavesha, which is fear of death. And fear of death ends up being fear of living, right? So someone's just like afraid because they're so afraid to do something that they're not really living. So back to the theme of integration and disintegration in Shivambu, what seems to happen is that it pushes that's a vata energy. That fear of living is a vata energy. It's in the negative state, right? It's in the pathological state where it's no longer in support of the functionality of vata in the body, of how things move, but it's creating a patterned way of movement. So it's not free. The person's then not free. They're afraid. So
if you're not drinking your pee, all right, then you're just living in fear, damn it. We ain't even living, y'all. We're not drinking our pee. We're essentially dead without drinking our pee and trying to get knowledge of our urine to reach a higher plane. Bitch is going to make me want to get into a plane crash.
What the urine seems to do,
oh, here we go,
is it moves it out.
Oh, wow.
And it moves it. I mean, one of the faster ways to deal with like this, you know, we can just call it the abhinavesha issue, ABHINIVESHA.
Okay, you want to spell that out for us again, please? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch it all.
Is it moves it out. And it moves it. I mean, one of the faster ways to deal with like this, you know, we can just call it the abhinavesha issue, ABHINIVESHA. Abhinavesha, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. That's where we're at. And I think we're in the second or third book. I don't think we're in the beginning.
If you are unfamiliar with all the different planes and dimensions and stuff, I am going to be doing a deep dive on it very, very soon because we keep on talking about things like the Love Has One cult, which believes in the 5D dimensional planes. We keep talking about all these cults, basically, and these pseudosciences that keep bringing up the different dimensions and the different planes and levels of awareness. So I am going to be deep diving into all of that in a couple weeks. But basically, there's different levels of awareness. And it's almost like working up a pyramid scheme, if you will, where the more you know about certain things, and you go up to the next level. And then you go up to the next level. And there is, depending on what spirituality you're with or what pseudoscience you are following, all that kind of stuff, there is always an ultimate level to reach. Again, like the top of a pyramid in an MLM, There's an ultimate level of understanding and knowledge. And then once you get there, you're almost like a Mahanta, like Harold Klemp in Eckankar called. You see what I mean? Like, it's all very much the same sort of thing. So I'm going to be deep diving it. No, I have not. That's going to be coming. Exactly. That's kind of what we're doing. So we need to talk about all of these different dimensions, all of the different planes, all of the different levels of awareness, and all of this, because I feel like whenever we're talking about it, I almost have to like re-explain it. Like here, I would usually, if I was doing a big deep dive documentary type style video, I would go into what levels she's talking about, what plane she's talking about, what her belief system is, where she wants to level up and all this, if you will, lace up like MGK, that kind of thing. And it's like, I just feel like it would be a lot easier for all of us, me included, if I just fucking did a whole deep dive video where we actually go into all of that. And then that way we can all have a better understanding of what the hell all of these levels and planes are, if you will, and the awareness and all this kind of stuff, because it's constantly coming up now. I'm happy on the level of awareness where I don't drink pee. I think we all are. And that's the funny thing, is it's like, again, I feel like people that believe in this are regressing in society. So I think we're all actually on the higher level and plane. I'm just saying.
There. So this is like yoga philosophy, yoga philosophy, yoga philosophy. And then like, okay, if you haven't dealt with these things, that's the kleshas. Right? So if you haven't dealt...
like she says, it's all like, it's kind of yoga philosophy, but think of like the people that believe in yoga and like monks and stuff and their belief systems and all that kind of stuff, and then times it by 100, and then you've got her.
If you're not thinking about these things, then think about these things, because otherwise the yoga won't really happen. Like your experience of yourself as the creator or as the cosmos in action, or just totally connected, or however you want to say it, will be limited.
And again, what are we the creators of, right? We need these questions answered. Like I said, it usually falls into some kind of spiritual belief. So again, Eckankar kind of believes this same sort of thing, right? Although with their cult, it's very much like the soul is the person. And so you are living in different lifetimes instead of like different lights or different planes. You're in different lifetimes, if you will. And then every life you get closer to being like a perfect creator. It's almost like you're a god and you've been sent here to figure out the world. And every time that you're sent here, or every time that you get another plane or level of awareness, if you will, you're one step closer to being like the most perfect being and having all of the knowledge in the world. Again, I do think we need to deep dive it, because once you understand how all that works, it's a lot easier to look at things like Heaven's Gate, for example, and be like, oh, okay, I get the planes. That was another call that kind of did the whole planes levels of awareness, although they thought it came from aliens, right? And again, you see some of that carried out here. There is a whole group of people that believe that the aliens came to us in the time of the pyramids and like gave a bunch of us a bunch of knowledge. And so therefore we're all trying to basically get the same awareness and knowledge levels as the aliens that came to visit us from the planet. It's a crazy deep dive. We'll have fun with it. But again, this is where she goes. And her use of the word yoga here, it's like yoga is a very small portion of that. It's like the sane version of all of that. If you're doing yoga and you are just kind of grounding yourself, centering yourself, if you will, which there's nothing wrong with doing. Even in counseling, we teach people to ground themselves. It's a great thing. I do it often. That's not wrong to do. But it's like if you were to take that, times it by 1,000, and then make it so that grounding yourself isn't just like grounding yourself, it's actually making you more aware of knowledge on this universe and getting you to a higher place of perfection. You know what I mean? It's a lot. So she's trying to use this sort of like belief in different planes and different dimensions and getting some kind of awareness of the world. Like she will one day be some kind of creator out there that will just know everything about everything as long as she keeps researching, I guess, or searching for the answers, if you will. She wants to call it yoga instead of actually calling it kind of a creepy conspiracy theory, pseudoscience belief system that, like I keep bringing up, a lot of cults seem to have. So I find it interesting that she keeps just chalking it up to yoga because, like I said, yoga, very small belief system in this in comparison to what these people would believe. The people that believe what she believes and believe that drinking your pee and your knowledge about your pee somehow also brings you closer to this sense of awareness. Right. We just need her to start worshiping Mother God. And we have almost encapsulated every single thing that we talk about here.
So how does the urine do it? Well, we could look at it from a negative ORP level. And this is where we could get creative. If we wanted to, we could get creative. We could get creative and start mixing systems, which is super dangerous. Like academia, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to violate every law of academia. Oh, well. So if you look at it holistically, and the Eastern sciences are so much better than the Western sciences on understanding the whole system, right? Understanding the waste.
I don't know who you are.
Waste is the disintegration that breaks the elements down so that they can then rebuild and integrate. They can then come into a higher level of integrity and integration and form a thing, whether that thing is a stem cell in urine or whether that thing is the breakdown and back into amino acids or even back down into, check this out, periodic table elements like carbon and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen, right? The bases of life, right?
I mean, that would be some crazy chemistry, wouldn't it?
And just break it down into that level, and then the body does what it wants with it. So when you look at urine, and I'll go back to the grounding.
Remember, we're talking about pee, so it's like the body already did what it wanted with it. It got rid of it. Your pee is, again, it's a lot of water, and then it's basically like all of the waste. So she keeps talking about amino acids in your pee. For example, if you eat something with a lot of amino acids, there's a level that your body can intake. The rest of them, okay, like let's say you eat a bunch of blueberries, one of the fruits, if you didn't know. Your potato's number one hater. I don't know. I might beat you. I might beat you. I think you, me, and Raina are going to have to duke that one out, I think. But literally, it's like you take a bunch of blueberries, right? If you and you guys all know this. I know that the people that are watching me right now, you're all intelligent enough. You all understand all of this. I just feel like I need to like explain it again for the world, if you will. I'm not explaining it to you guys because I don't think you know. We're debunking this bitch. So you eat a bunch of blueberries. That's one of the fruits that has the most amino acids. If you want to know, if you ever need amino acids, just go eat a bunch of fucking blueberries. You're good. You don't need the supplements and shit like she said. Your literal like body, right? It can take in too much of even the good things, even things like amino acids, if you will. So when you eat a whole bunch of blueberries, let's say, there's a certain level of amino acids that your body will need and that your body will take in, absorb, that kind of thing, right? And I'm trying to say this in the least scientific way I can, just to show that you could be a spurg like me and explain this in simple ass terms and it will make complete sense, okay? So I don't know why this lady has to sit here and sound like Bells of Nevermore, throwing out these big words like she's a scientist and throwing in all this lingo and buzzwords and stuff to basically try to make herself look and sound intelligent in order to prove a point. I'll be dumb as fucking sound real stupid and still prove my point. I don't care. So it's almost like your body has like a maximum level that it can take. Eat a bunch of blueberries, your body says, thank you, I can only take this much amino acids. And then the rest of those amino acid, because, you know, blueberries has so much of it, your body's absorbing. And then it goes, okay, that's enough. I don't want the rest of them. And then that gets released in your waste, right? And so then that's the amino acids that would like be in your pee that she's then saying we need to like somehow extract or something and then figure out how to put it back into our body. So it's almost like if you are doing this, you could potentially be like re-ingesting all of the toxins, right? That not potentially, that is basically what you're doing, is re-ingesting all of the toxins and even the good stuff that your body just could not absorb, because it was already at like the maximum level. It already had what it needed from whatever you're eating or intaking or whatever. So it released it. Like, you don't want to keep on trying to put that back in your body, you know? That's not good for you. And she's like, no, we definitely should. So she takes like things like this. And then she throws some buzzwords and some fancy sounding words, if you will, and acts like she's kind of a skeptic, but she isn't really. And then she also acts like she's some kind of philosopher that knows everything. So it's very confusing. And then she'll try to convince you that basically we just haven't researched this enough. And it's like, no, bitch, we did research it. Stop this madness. All right, we will.
And the fear of death and all that. But when you look at urine, it's very heavily involved in the nitrogen cycle.
Ah!
Yeah, like with the wet cycle, like we know about the oxygen cycle and we know about the water cycle, but like what's this whole nitrogen cycle? And as far as I can tell, is it's like really tied into the microbiome.
Oh, God.
Right, so it's like you want a plant to grow, you add nitrogen as a fertilizer. If you want your plants at home to grow, add some pee to water. It's like a 20-to-1 ratio, something like that. But play with it, like just intuitively play with it. So notice what your plant's like. So nitrogen, too much nitrogen, then you have not enough oxygen, you have a bog.
Uh-huh.
So this ability of nitrogen and oxygen to fuse in nitric oxide and release, and how urine nourishes nitric oxide potential in the body. Nitric oxide potential is directly tied into how much oxygen your cells can absorb.
Very good. So again, like I said, you can only absorb so much, and then the rest gets released as a toxin, like out of the body. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Don't need you. Right? And like, this is my thing. I'm like, so then why would you then be like, yeah, let's take this and put it back in our bodies? Right? Like,
yeah, so your blood oxygen levels. And this is where it's like, okay, so what does that have to do with fear of death? Well, first of all, you're oxygenated, right? That's gotta help. I was reading this.
Oh my God, she's so funny.
No, I was listening to a doctor talk about nitric oxide today. That's kind of like what Kate does for fun while working out.
Oh my God, she's like so intelligent. She listens to doctors while she works out. Nobody else ever does that. I bet you there's somebody watching me at some point today, if not right now, that's working out and listening to this. And they're like, huh, well, I'm a dumb bitch then. I should be listening to a doctor.
Was saying that, like, like typical athletes. So if you right now there's the Olympics going on, but there's always something going on. There's always some pro sport where you see, like, the best of the best of human bodies doing something that requires, a shit ton of skill and practice and talent and mindset and all that. And you think like 20% more blood oxygen, that's a nice advantage. That's a nice advantage to have over like everyone else in the competition. So anyways, how does it work? Well,
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why people in sports apparently are drinking their pee. Now, you've all been wondering since the beginning when we watched all the fighters come on and be like, we drink our pee. You know, now you know. That's the science, if you will, behind it.
It then goes back to microbiome, and this goes into like the integrity of self, which goes to ab innovation. If like if all cells were oxygenated and alive, would you be less afraid to do whatever you wanted to do with your life?
Probably not. I'm just saying, especially since you just talked about how they could get too oxidized. Oh, okay, Kate, keep going.
Oh, gee, Kate, that was deep.
Oh, gee, Kate, that was deep. I really hope that person was being sarcastic.
Yeah, right?
Damn it!
But it just happens naturally. It doesn't happen from like trying to make it decide to do it. That's what's so like just crazy pants about Shivambu. Is it works on you, so you don't have to do the work. It just works on you. Yeah. All right, so what happens with the vata is that fear, that emotion will get pulled out. So if you did, say someone's like, I really want to get over my fear of death, my fear of living, my abhinavesha, my klesha, right? I want to see what another level of feeling totally supported from the inside out to be able to just take action, just to take aligned action. Like I want to check out what that's like. That sounds interesting. It sounds like an interesting experience to have. If that's on the menu, like, yeah, sure, I'll go for that next. Leave the brownie sundae aside. I'll choose that. Yeah, sure, why not? So the enemas, aged urine enemas, would then pull. This is what's weird, is like there's a definite physiological component because it's urine. So it's interacting with your biochemistry. It is your biochemistry, and it's triggering your biochemistry to operate at a higher level, vidya, right? Up a level. Right? You're going to jump a level. It pulls toxic air out. So the person might actually like fart a lot. They might have a lot of bowel movements. They might start to crave a feeling of both fullness and emptiness in their colon. And so that their back and the spawn to their back and the pulsation of like full and empty. And they notice that there's a scintillating energy. The yogis call that prana in the colon. Well, as this is happening, the microbiome there is getting healthier. So the whole human being is becoming more aligned with its own genetic potential. I'm not going to explain that right now, but I will later because it's important.
Okay.
It's important to get. So now you have like microbiome pulsating in the intestines and in the colon, right? And as this happens, the person's more grounded and they're more able to move from a place of grounding. What happens to their oxidation rate? Well, their oxidative stress decreases. Right? If
you would be very
their
upset.
pH is off, it becomes more balanced. Usually that's a move towards alkaline right now. Their blood oxygen level increases. Their nitric oxide production level increases. They're just more invigorated. They're more full of the life energy, less full of that, which is the opposite. So what is the opposite? The opposite is living in a field that's oxidized. Right? Imagine like clean, pristine, bubbling brook of water. And then imagine like
I liked that. That was fun. She lives in quite her own little world here, Kate.
Like the treated water that happens when you live in a desert and water has to go through all this treatment, and it's, you know, it's treated with all sorts of things.
Okay. Now she's comparing our body to a desert.
Different elements, right? But it's different. It's a different vibration. So its ORP is higher. It's less able to nourish the microbiome. So some of us are like living internally in a state that has a higher ORP, that has lower nitric oxide levels, that has lower blood oxygen levels. And that's a state of chronic inflammation. And I've like listened to the last 25,000 podcasts I've done on that because I'm so tired of that conversation. But
oh my God, I've done like 25,000 podcasts on this and I'm like tired of this conversation. So just like go listen to it. Listen, guys, I've like already done a live stream on urine therapy. I'm like done with this conversation. So like go watch my other one. You guys would be like, well, Queen, why the fuck are you live again then? Like, why did you come here then? and start talking about this. Lord, that's on you, Queen. That's on you. And I have to say the same to Kate. Like, you're the one that just came on here to talk about all of this again. And then you like go off on the people watching, like they're asking you about it. You're like, I'm so sick of this conversation. I've already talked about all the reasons why we need to drink urine on my 2,500 podcasts. Go watch them. I'm not doing it again.
But it's also the conversation that'll never go away because it's tied into this whole thing.
Oh!
Right?
Oh no! What are you going to do?
So what I notice, because I'm giving this talk on emotional eating in September. I'm giving a Dharma talk on emotional eating in September. Why? Because people ask.
Is the emotional eating talk going to have to do with emotionally eating your urine? I just want to know, because that would be interesting. She was like, listen, guys, you really got to stop doing that. It's only for therapy. Don't overindulge.
Me too. Like, that's why. And then Rupert was like, yeah, you should do that, Kate. And I was like, okay, I'll talk about that. And it's so fascinating about, we're all emotional. Like, it's an emotional body in Ayurveda. Like, a whole body is emotional. Another whole body is energy. Another body is bliss. Another whole body is the body. Another whole body is intuition, right? So then, like, what we eat, like, we're all
Bitch got a whole lot of bodies. I hope they're not all in her basement.
always eating life. Like, when we really, really eat life, we are so full and fulfilled because we're in the flow of it. We're not making ourselves do things that are out of the flow, even though that might be hard, even though that might be countercultural. You want to see my urine stash? Talk about, let me see.
Oh yeah, here we go, guys. Look at that. Did you see it?
Yeah, that's like where I'm aging.
No? All right. Yep, she just did that.
Really eat life. We really eat life. We are so full and fulfilled because we're in the flow of it. We're not making ourselves do things that are out of the flow, even though that might be hard, even though that might be countercultural. You want to see my urine stash? Talk about, let me see if I can show you.
Yep, there it is. There it is. It looks like she needs to drink more water. Yep, some of them are red. I'm sure you've noticed. What does that mean? I'm sure you know. Please don't make me say it. Don't make me. I refuse. But yeah, this is what they do is they pee in jars and they age them. Apparently, urine can age like fine wine. And yes, she literally called it that, didn't she? My urine stash. I'd rather someone show me their drug stash than a urine stash. Like, for real, though. If I was ever at someone's house and they were like, hey, Beth, you want to, like, come and check out my urine stash? I would be like, no, I'm fucking checking out of here. Okay, I'm gone. I'm gone. Seems like that could get super. That's my whole thing. Is I'm like, is this not like acidy? All right, you thought apple juice was bad. Like, I'm just saying, and ferment like beer. Yeah, it does. It's very much like beer because yeah, it also has things like yeast in it. Right? So it basically that's exactly what happens is it starts to ferment and they keep it for I've heard of people keeping their urine like and you guys know I've only been digging into this thank God for a few weeks now, but apparently they'll keep it like up to several months before they drink it. It's a thing. I am still not really 100% sure. Like, she kind of explained it the best, which is why I wanted to watch this one, obviously. is because she does explain the best as to, I guess, the science, if you will, behind why people are doing this. And apparently, yeah, it makes your microbiome better, puts more oxygen in it, which is supposed to do something. And we're gonna get into her belief system, the Shinbutsu, a little bit again, because I think that's important before we end this. We're almost done listening to her, thank God. But yeah, this is a big thing, and they seem to all do this. Like, if you are into this urine therapy thing, other than just being like Brian Rose and just recording yourself drinking your own urine for like shock value and pats on the back, then you tend to have jars of pee. I had a roommate once. I'm sure we have all had this roommate. If you went to college and had roommates in your early 20s like me, I'm sure you've all had this roommate that used to like piss in bottles. Like, he would drink beer and shit, and then he would like get all drunk and not want to get up and go to the bathroom, so he would like piss in a bottle, you know. And when he moved out, we had to like clear out his room, and there were some piss bottles in there. It was very raunchy, very gross. You know, gamer men are known to do this. They will pee in bottles, leave them around, and then us women have to clean them up. Damn it, men, stop doing this. So it doesn't smell good. It's really gross. And I swear to God, we all have a roommate that we can relate to who has done this, or you all know somebody that has done the urine piss bottle thing at least once at a party or something. And like I said, if you've ever been around that, you know what it smells like. You know how gross it can get. And then imagine like drinking. Like, no, dude, I'm out. Like, no, can't. No, just no. That's the thing, is that like that is technically like what you're kind of doing, right? Like, that's one of the things that are in your pee, especially when you let it kind of like sit out for a while, you know, like I'm getting that in there. Do you want to drink that? No, you don't. That is bad. I do not believe that urine could improve the microbiome. It's so funny because it's like you've already pissed it out. Like, what are we doing so that we think we can like ingest it and then it's gonna go? Like, I don't know, Angel. I don't know. We're making leaps here. Never once considered pissing in a bottle. I'm glad, Brucey, because I am telling you, all of us pretty much know someone that does this. See, even Angel's like, oh yeah, I had one on a road trip. Yep. Yep. It's disgusting. It is. I swear to God, we have all know someone. See, even Joe's like, here at work, a guy would leave them. Joe, at work though? That's a bit bizarre. I do have to say, my man. I would be kind of like, bro, there's a fucking bathroom. Like, why are you doing this here? Just go to the bathroom. You can't want to work that bad. That should be a fireable offense. Fire him. I don't even know how you would like bring that up to your manager. Like, you're just like, yeah, Marty. I don't know why his name's Marty, I guess. It just came to me. Why would that be? You're just like, man, Marty keeps like leaving piss bottles all around our workstation. Like, could you tell him to stop or fucking fire him? Like, I keep knocking them over when I'm trying to just do my damn job, okay? Piss everywhere. I know people at Amazon fulfillment centers had to do that though. Oh my God. That's because Amazon, and we're doing that too in the next little while, probably after the new year. We're going to be diving into some of the actual like companies like Amazon and that kind of thing that do treat their employees like shit. And yes, I believe it. I believe it. Amazon is known to not give breaks and be pieces of shit. They weren't given enough time. Yeah, exactly. And if they did, yeah. See, Amazon's like that. I've also heard some like really a lot of the delivery companies, even here at Canada Post, there was a thing where at one of the, was it out west? Might have been out west. I don't know, Angel. Maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. But they did this big thing on Canada Post and a lot of the delivery around here, like the delivering companies, and how they don't even have bathroom breaks. They're not allowed to take any bathroom breaks or anything like that. So like they were being forced to pee in bottles, right? And so, you know, it is a thing that exists. And if you've ever seen one of these like pee bottles, you you don't want to drink it, okay? It's gross. It smells even stinkier than when you just pissed, okay? It's just not a good thing. And then again, after sitting out there for a while, which as you can see, they literally will have fucking jars. I'm kind of glad she shows this because I've been telling people that they keep jars of pee, and I swear to God, people don't believe me. They're like, Beth, no, like nobody does that. And I'm like, no, look, this lady actually is. Like you gotta think and sit there for a while. It's gonna be 10 times more toxic. If you are going to do this, you would probably be better to drink it just straight after you pee it out. Leaving it to sit would make it 10 times worse. And Joe, if the guy ever starts putting little covers on the bottles, then definitely get him fired because then we all know what he's doing. Which this is also weird, by the way. I guess we got to keep the bugs out, right? Yeah, with the cheesecloth, right? Mm-hmm. And see, that's probably why you thought of the fermenting thing. And that's what I mean. It's like, what are they making here? Like jam? Like, okay. Ew.
I think you can see
jam.
Yeah, that's like where I'm aging my urine. Yeah, I mean, it gets a little countercultural. It gets a little weird. Yeah, right? But if you're not afraid of truth, then you're not afraid to live, right? And then
if you're not afraid of truth, so if you don't piss in big glass containers and cover them with the cloth and an elastic and keep your pee and drink your pee, then you are just fearful to live, and you are living a damn lie, okay? Damn lie. I dropped a bottle on HR's counter and it stopped the next day. That would do it. That's a very good way to go about it. Don't mess with Joe at work. He'll bring it right to you. He'll be like, well, listen, this guy, Marty, keeps peeing in these damn bottles. And HR will be like, yeah, well, we haven't really seen it. And Joe will be like, I will dump it on your head. And then what? All right, Sandy, fire the man.
Abinavesha, it just disintegrates. And that energy that was in it, because it's full of energy. I just spent a lot of time with someone that really had this, a teenager, actually.
See, and this is also where we are now getting people to, anyway. This is why, though, I think we need to get into the planes and like the light talk and all of that stuff. It's because they also believe that like the urine holds energy in it. And like the longer it sets, obviously, the more energy it will create, I guess. It ferments energy. And then when you drink it, it's like giving you like positive energies, right? It's a spiritual thing, if you will. And all of it's very worrisome. But back to the teenager.
Super surprising to me. Like I haven't, I don't know, like the typical person I hang out with is not really like afraid to live. And so it was interesting to spend time with an extended family member that was like, you know, just like afraid of so many things that, and then I realized like, oh my gosh, we got to take your socks off. Like, let your feet breathe, right? What's feet breathing going to do? It's actually it would actually raise her blood oxygen level, like even just slightly, but it
Look at that. Nicholas got it right.
allows for grounding. And the yogis are like, oh yeah, grounding, right? Root chakra, feet. Yeah, of course. Spread your toes, right? And yoga teachers out there who are like, oh my gosh, I cannot get certain people to take their socks off when walking into a yoga studio, especially as newcomers, right? Where people like really fight you at the door and you're like, no, you got to take your socks off. You want to be able to feel your toes and spread your toes and see your toesies and like notice your feet and like reincorporate them. Like don't cover them up. Fear of taking off socks.
Okay, disclaimer. I am a barefoot girl. I am. I hate wearing shoes. I hate wearing socks. If I could live in just bare feet all of the time and just walk around in bare feet all day long and go outside in bare feet, I would. I am one of those weird people that I'm the opposite. It might be my little tism, but I literally hate having things on my feet. I hate it. I hate socks. I hate shoes. I have to be barefoot at all times when I put on socks and shoes to like go out and about, because I live in Canada and I can't just walk outside in snow in -30 with nothing on my feet, you know. I come right inside and I take it right off. I'm like, all right, socks off, shoes off. My daughter's the same way. My husband will actually just take off everything and then he'll be in his boxers and a pair of shorts. If he's wearing long pants, he takes off the pants and puts on shorts. It could be -30 in this house. And my husband was that kid. He used to wear shorts to school in the middle of winter that everyone would be like, what's wrong with this kid? That was my husband. So I get the bare feet thing. I do. I don't think it maybe it has to do with grounding. I don't know. Yes, I am a tiptoe walker as well. And my daughter does it too. My daughter does it too, but that might be because of autism, I found out. So here's the thing. I hate fucking bare feet. I hate shoes on feet. I would be bare feet all the fucking time. So I could kind of get this. I understand this, I think a little bit. But I don't know what that has to do with me drinking my urine. That's where I'm at. It does have to do with sensory stuff. A lot of people don't like the feel of it, more so than it is a grounding thing. But I could even get down with people being like, yeah, I like being barefoot in the sand. It makes me feel more grounded. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. Because technically, like, even in mental health, and that when you ground yourself, you want to have both feet flat on the floor to do your breathing exercises and whatnot. I don't know, maybe one day I'll talk about that, but I try not to talk about mental health on here anymore, because apparently when you talk about your mental health openly, it's you playing victim instead of just making it a part of the world, because it is. #end the stigma. So I can't really go into all of that anymore. But literally, I just am having a hard time, even with, if you consider it to be grounding. What would that have to do with then, like, drinking your urine? And once again, she brings up the yoga. She's like, guys, drinking your urine and doing all of this, like, awareness on plane stuff is really just yoga. And I'm like, no, that's not the same thing. Yes, it can give you a nice pedicure and soften your feet, which those of us that don't wear shoes and socks often tend to have rougher feet at the bottom, because we're walking around in bare feet all the time. Okay, it's a thing. I also have dancer's feet because I wore point shoes for 10 years. So maybe it's also because shoes hurt my feet. Because if you do point shoes when you were a child, because I was insane, so while my feet were growing, I was like, yes, let's do ballet and wear point shoes. That would be a fabulous fucking idea. Great job. So for me, it's also like, I have weird feet, so I don't like to wear shoes. But again, I'm having a hard time being like, yoga, wearing bare feet, drink urine. Like, I feel like there's a very big difference between these things. And I'm having a hard time, because even like drinking urine as like a grounding technique, we saw how those people acted when they were drinking their urine. It didn't seem very calming. So I'm having a hard time trying to like feet together. Yes, that was beautiful. Fit together how like all of that fits together, if you will. I'm kind of like, it's a big stretch for me. My feet are messed up because I used to rock climb and rock climbing will also do it. See, I used to also do rock climbing. So yeah, that too. In bare feet. I wish I could. See, we weren't allowed to. We weren't allowed to, but I did do wrestling and we were allowed to wrestle in bare feet. Maybe that's why that's the only sport I did, because I was like, listen, bitch, I'm not wearing any shoes, okay? And that sucks. I've only broken a couple of my toes. One of them was on a rock, and I like took my toe almost right off, by the way. Took the whole tip right off of my little toe, and now I have a nail that grows up instead of out. It's great fun. And so that Niccolo doesn't keep fapping, let's continue on.
What are other self-identifying things? Like fear of doing what you really want to do. So some of you need to leave a relationship or a job or start something new.
Whoa!
Invest.
Listen, if you need to leave a job or a relationship, walk barefoot and drink your urine. It will help.
In something invest in some training you've been thinking about for a long time and just held yourself back from, because it's different than how you've done things in the past, and different is scary, right? New.
Always these people are like, the fear of the unknown. Let's use that. And stepping out of your comfort zone. Let's use that. If you're not doing what I'm doing, you must be scared. You little scaredy cat, you not drinking your urine. It's like, no, I don't want to drink my pee. There's no scientific evidence that says that there's anything good to do with it. They have looked into it, despite what you want to believe. Apparently, we need to look into the microdome more or something like that. Okay, listen, we already have. I just don't want to drink it. Probably tastes like crap. I mean, it is. It's liquid crap. So I don't want to drink it. It has nothing to do with me. I am technically scared to drink my pee. Because, I don't know too many people that are like, yes, please give that to me. Thank God. It would be a little bit of a scary experience, but rightfully so. Sometimes fear is a good thing. If you are too scared to drink your pee, that is A-okay with me. There we go. We ended it on a poem. So yes, Kate here is turning into one of those spiritual gurus, if you will. And she is a lot of fun. Don't worry, he'll wake up and watch. She's a lot of fun because literally she is turning into a guru. And she does urine therapy and she does other stuff. And so we might have to dive into Kate a little bit more as a person. Seems to always be Kate's that bother me. But I just want to talk about the religion or the spirituality, if you will, for a moment that Kate kept bringing up, because I feel like she's misrepresenting it. If you are going to be out here talking about spirituality and religion and then attaching it to things like pee drinking, could you not represent it a little bit better? So let's just take a moment, because this is the one that she's talking about. And I don't want to mispronounce anything and insult anyone out there, because I already can't talk. I cannot speaketh already. And some of these words are hard to say. But basically what it is Shibitsu. Again, I might be saying it wrong. I'm not very good at this whole pronouncing other languages things. And it's a little bit of Buddhism. And then it's a little bit of Shinto, which was basically a Chinese religion, if you will. So it's a mixture of those two things kind of put together. And I've looked into this quite a bit, and I can't really find the religion itself does not seem to be please drink your urine. I can't find anything in this that really is it. Listen, if you're in China or Japan and you're a part of this religion, okay, then you must be drinking your urine. I can't find anything in Buddhism which says that you should be drinking your urine. I can't, for the life of me, find any like religion or spirituality that actually connects to drinking urine. And as you go through this, like I said, they talk about how, you know, Buddhism and this other religion went together, and Shinto, I believe, is actually from Japan. And so they like put those together and made this religion. Again, cannot find in either religion or the religions put together where the fuck it says drink urine. Drink urine. I keep looking, and it's like all I can see is that there are some people that have practiced these religions that believed in this practice, but it's not necessarily a practice from these religions. Does that make sense? For some reason, people keep claiming that if you are a part of this Japanese religion, you drink pee. And I'm out here like, I can't find any proof of this. It's all about karma. It has a lot to do with like natural remedies and natural medicine and herbology and all that kind of stuff, if you will. Has a lot to do with like your chakras, clearing chakras. It gets into all that. It has a lot to do with all of the other spiritual things that you would think of when you think of like Buddhism and whatnot. You can find a lot of that. I cannot, for the life of me, find any practice in which these people were like, yes, please drink your like pee. Now, there were Buddhists way back in the day that did believe in this practice. Was it a part of their Buddhism though? No, it was a medical practice, as I have talked about in my past videos. And therefore, I cannot actually find a spiritual or religious link directly between urine drinking and any of the spiritualities or religions in which people like Kate constantly like reference to being. But as we talked about before, there were some old Japanese, Indian, and Chinese like sort of excuse me, spiritualities and people that practice those types of religions and like spiritualities like Buddhism and whatnot, because a lot of people don't consider Buddhism to be a religion. They consider it to be more of a spirituality. There's a difference between those two things, believe it or not. And so it's just kind of bothering me. I mean, it's like, yes, okay, there are people that have practiced those spiritualities that have done the whole urine therapy thing. But it seems like it was because back in the day, that was a medical practice. There was even a time where back in the day, they used to tell people to brush their teeth with urine because it could help with a toothache. This was like an actual medical remedy at one time, like we keep talking about. Way back before we had the knowledge and science we do today, people actually did think that urine therapy was a thing. Well, thanks for being here again, Joe. I hope you have a fabulous day. Don't worry, I'm wrapping up in the next few minutes, so you won't have to return and hear my annoying voice again. So it's like I can trace it back to being a like ancient remedy that people used to kind of like do and believe in for different things, as we've often talked about. I can like trace it back to how people in those spiritual beliefs have also believed in these being medical. But there's not a lot that I seem to be finding that directly links the spirituality or those religions to drinking urine. There isn't really a fully direct link. Like there is, it's almost like these people are talking like there's like some Buddhism spiritual meditation that you do where you go and you drink your pee and then you meditate for 20 minutes. Like this is not a thing. I cannot find it. But like I said, it was at one point a medical practice. It does still get practiced a lot in places like China, where it's had to have been banned. They had to ban it there because so many people were like literally trying to use it to cure COVID and stuff. They were like, no more of this. So I'm having a hard time pulling out of this what the actual like spirituality is, if you will. I can sit down and I can find out like the medical misinformation and whatnot that led up people to believing that this would be good for you. I can trace through all of the science that proves it's not good for you. And then, like I said, I can find connections to people in different spiritualities and religions that have believed in this. And like we did today, I can even find people that do it for a sport, or do it for a TV show and their politics, or just do it and then randomly attach it to a spirituality that they're into. But again, I cannot actually find any real spiritual connection to urine drinking, even when I dive deep into ancient times when they practiced this, even when I dive deep into like the Chinese practices and whatnot. It just seems to come from natural medicine and the belief that a lot of people have that if it doesn't kill you, then it could potentially help you. Also, the belief that a lot of people have that urine is natural. It's a natural thing that your body creates, right? Itself. It's a so-called natural. And therefore, it must be good. Because there are a lot of people out there that just automatically believe natural equals good. Natural equal healthy. And we're constantly debunking that fact on this channel just over and over again when we're talking about MLM products or other pseudoscience practices and whatnot, that natural doesn't always equate to being good. There are poisons that are natural. Would you drink them? I hope not. But then here we are talking about people drinking pee. So I don't know. But, and this is what's kind of bothering me in this, is I'm going through, I'm trying to deep dive this. I'm trying to find out where it's all coming from, because I do strongly believe that in order to combat a belief system, you have to fully understand it. You have to find the root of it. You have to then kind of go through and research how it's evolved over time and then why it's bad and all of that. And it's like, I can't find much that really does bring it to spirituality. The closest I can get is a little bit of Hinduism, but again, it doesn't exactly equate to that. It just seems to be a medical practice that keeps getting attached to spirituality somehow. So if you do have any information that does directly link drinking your pee to some kind of spirituality or religion, please do send it to me. Because other than the information that I've already given you, I can't find much of a direct link. And I feel like I am missing something, because as I continuously watch these videos of people drinking their damn pee, that seems to be the running theme, is that they keep bringing up like ancient medicine, which we already know. Yes, it was a thing. We've talked about that. And then they keep bringing up all these spiritualities and religions, like that one. And I'm like, okay, but as I'm looking in, because we all know I like to also look into spiritualities and religions. That's how I got into talking about cults to begin with, and researching all of this stuff to begin with, was just because I like to learn about these things. I find it fun. Theology's fun to me. It's like I can't for the life of me actually find that direct link, though. Like I said, it seems to just be a medical practice that some spiritualities and religions have used because it was a medical practice. But then it's not like, it seems to be more us here in like Canada and the US, and those of us that are using it here right now that are like linking this when we maybe shouldn't be. And that's why I want to know. Because if there is no connection to anything, then we need to talk about that. We need to be like, listen, we got a bunch of people out here that are drinking their pee, and it has no connection to any spirituality or religion on here. It was actually misinformation about medical science from back in the day, and that was it. And then they keep trying to bring culture and religion into this crap when they shouldn't be. I think it's an important conversation to have. I think we do have to try to figure that out, and I do find it interesting. So I hope that you don't mind going on this journey with me I do think that we need to dig into Kate's a little bit more, because she's not just about urine therapy. Oh no, she's got a whole bunch of stuff that's going on for her that she likes to talk about. And as you saw, she just seems like a fun person. So let me know if you want me to talk about her more in future. I might be taking the weekend off this weekend. I have some plans, and I am not sure if I am going to be able to do a stream tomorrow. If I do, it will probably be about on passive, because I have a plan for Monday, so I kind of don't want to use MLM Monday to talk about on passive again. But I'm thinking it will probably be more in the evening than in a morning or afternoon stream. So I hope that you all have a fabulous weekend. Have a fabulous rest of your Friday. Don't drink your urine. And if you do drink your urine, please let me know why. I mean, yes, I'm judging you a little bit. I think you're a little bit weird, but for the most part, I just want to understand. I'm just here trying to understand the world and why people do what they do and why society does what society does, especially here on the internet, because it's such a weird place. And if you're like me and you like theology and you like sociology and then you're on here, that's what you'll end up doing. I'm sorry. I am who I am, and I cannot change. So please do give the video a like, subscribe if you are new here. I would love it if you join our fabulous, amazing members. All of the beautiful people do. And you don't want to be ugly like, someone that drinks their urine and then keeps urine bottles in a room somewhere. I mean, at least Kate kept them outside. We'll give her that. Her house isn't stinking up as urine. Only her balcony is, I guess. I will never purposely drink. That's a good point. If you do it by accident, that's okay. Okay, just don't do it on purpose. And guys, no matter where you are, what you're doing, have a fabulous, fabulous day. Please go check out the Recovering Hunbot. Also today, she's going to be doing a game stream, and we just kind of like hang out and chat and chit chat. So even if you don't like the game, we still have a fun time, if you want to come in and drop some lines about on passive or have a talk about Ash or something, you can do that there too. All right, it's not just about the game, so I hope that, we can start having some fun doing that over there as well, because maybe I'll start doing some Roblox stuff again. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, have a good one. Hopefully I'll catch you later over there. Mwah! Bye! And again, just don't drink your pee. At least not on purpose.